How are you guys doing today? Super, awesome. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you guys for coming today. We're really excited to bring you guys your new lockbox system. A little bit about me. My name is Andy. I am the support trainer back home in our headquarters in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I teach our support staff how to assist you guys. I'm kind of on loan this week to help teach you guys how to use your new lockbox system. So as we go through this training, basically I will try and pause at the end of each slide or each section to open it up to questions for anybody who, if you have any questions about the particular slide or whatever we're doing, that's fine. Just pop your hand up and I'll get to you right after that slide. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get started. As far as today's agenda, basically we're going to go over the equipment that you will be using. Beyond that, we're going to move on towards the SentriCard and the SentriSmart application, when to use which and how those work together. And then the last one, we're going to go over some best practices and how to get started, and then where to go if you guys need to get help. So the first thing we need to know about is just the SentriSmart application for your phone, and then the new lockbox. How many of you guys already use the SentriSmart application? So a lot of you guys are already using it, which is great. The biggest difference now is you have increased functionality with these Bluetooth lockboxes, and we're going to teach you all about that today. Additionally, you guys can still use the cards if you'd like. However, I highly suggest you kind of transition to the app. It'll make your life a lot easier in the long run, and we're going to go over all the details why. If you don't have the app, you can get that for Apple devices in the App Store or the Google Play Store for Android devices. It is free to download, free to use. If you're a SentriLock member, or if you already use the SentriLock system, it's all the same credentials and all that fun stuff. So this is our new lockbox. This is our 3.6 lockbox. Some of it's pretty familiar to you guys if you've seen our NXT lockboxes. It's a pretty radical redesign from our Gen 1s and Gen 2s. But the basic layout is pretty much the same. You have the status indicating lights up top here. You have the keypad down here. But we'll talk about a couple of the differences. You'll notice one thing, a simple one. The keypad does not activate until you press the enter key. On the old lockboxes, any button would activate the keypad. So if you had it rolling around in your trunk, something like that, it would drain the battery just because the button keeps activating. This one, the only button that'll activate the keypad is the enter button. Now when I press that enter button, you'll also notice this blue flashing light. This is a very exciting light. It's a party. Basically it means that the box is broadcasting its Bluetooth signal, which means that you can connect to it with your phone, open it up, you're good to go. So that little blue light, that's showing that you have a Bluetooth lockbox. Additionally, we have a power port on the side now. How many of you guys have had the unfortunate circumstance of having to use our power paddle? Anybody? Power paddles are a thing of the past. If you've never had to use one, count yourself lucky. Basically, it's just a way that you can actually change the batteries. Because if you're used to the Gen 1s, Gen 2s, the batteries were on the outside, and this lockbox, they're actually housed inside of the key compartment. So you have your little access port here. If your battery dies, you can plug in an external battery power port, open up your lockbox that way. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Other than that though, the lockbox essentially functions the same. You have traffic rules. Green means go, red means wait. Yellow just means it's asking for additional information. So as we go through, as I demo it, if you have any questions, just let me know. We also have the card carrier sheet. This is what you guys got way back when you first got your SentriCard. Has your lockbox codes, has your PIN number, has your password on it. You won't be receiving a new one today. We just kind of want you guys to take note of this because your credentials are the same for the app as they are for the card. So whatever you use to log into the website, whenever you have to renew your SentriCard, it's the same stuff you use to log into the app when you're using the app. Make sense? So for those of you who haven't used the app before, I'm just going to kind of break it down, and then we're going to demo it live in front of you guys so you can see how easy it is to use. The first portion of the app that we use is what we call the mobile access portion. This is where showing agents are primarily going to use the app. So if you're a showing agent, you might not even need to use the other stuff. You just use the mobile access. It allows you to get in and out of lockboxes. Now the cool thing about the app is even if it is not a Bluetooth lockbox, the app can generate a code that you can use to open a non-Bluetooth lockbox. Next we have the message center. How many of you guys utilize our showing notifications? So if you use showing notifications, you can also get them right in your hand on the app. So you still can get those through text message or email, but if you want to look it up kind of live, you can do that through the message center. Next we have lockbox tools. This is where the listing agents are going to get the most use out of the app. With the lockbox tools, you can remove a lockbox from a listing, you can generate one-day codes, you can adjust your lockbox settings. It's kind of a one-stop shop kind of thing. Last portion of the app we have is settings. That's where you're going to adjust account settings. So they're not necessarily app settings, but more things like if you want to change your password or if you want to change your PIN. So with that in mind, let me set up a mirror here real fast, and we will do a demo. All right.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Is there a way you can log in one time and not have to log in every time?
Absolutely. So the first time you log into a device, our system will remember that you used that device, and you won't need to re-log into it every other time. You just open up the app. So once you log in the first time, you just open up the app again. As long as you don't switch devices, it'll remember that you were there.
So I don't have to put Sue Trainer in and...
Right, correct.
Cool.
So this is a training account we're using. What you see up here on this phone is what I'm typing right here on my phone. So you'll see here, I'm just going to enter my password and log in our training account here. The very first time you log in, it's going to ask you to accept a user agreement. It's a standard user agreement that we already use, so I'm going to agree. Now one of the things about the app is the first time you log in, you'll notice that you have a getting started demo. Now I'm going to skip these because you guys have me to walk you through it, but if you ever want to pull up one of those demos again, all you have to do is hit that I at the top right of your app, and it'll pull up that demo for whatever screen you're on again, just as a quick tutorial if you need a reminder of how to use the app. So this first portion that we have is the mobile access. So you can see down here we're on the mobile access tab. We're on the mobile access portion of the app. If I want to access a listing, first thing I will do is press enter on my lockbox. If I press enter on the lockbox, it'll pop up to the top of my list there. So since this lockbox is the only lockbox in its association because it's a training account, there's only one there. However, for you guys, you might see 50 lockboxes there. It takes whatever lockboxes are within a half-mile radius of your current location. Just press enter. It means you don't have to look for it. It pops to the top of the list, and you see you have that Bluetooth symbol showing that you can connect to it with your Bluetooth. So if I want to access this lockbox, I'll simply press on the address on my phone, put my PIN in like normal, and hit open, and the lockbox will open up. Now this is a clamshell design, so you will have to pull the door down, but it's as easy as that. All you do is enter on the lockbox and press open. Make sense? So this brings up a feature that you guys haven't seen before if you use the card only. This is a new feature that we have called key missing. So what if you access a lockbox and there's no key in there? What you can do is simply hit key missing. And this is going to allow you to send a notification to the lockbox owner that there's no key in there. So the lockbox owner can at that point see who was previously in that listing, find out who walked off with the keys in their pocket. So it's a pretty cool little feature. Additionally, we also have RPR and HomeSnap integration. Do any of you guys use either of those systems? So if you have the app, this will take you directly to that listing in the RPR or the HomeSnap app, so you can see the listing details, which is really nice because it takes you directly to that listing. You can see square footage, you can see school district, and all that fun stuff there. So again, we'll demo that just as easy as walking up to the box, pressing enter. It goes to the top of my list there. Select it from my list, enter my PIN, and press open. The motor will cycle, I get the ready light, I can open my box. Pretty easy to use. Does anybody have questions on the mobile access portion?
How do you unlock
The shackle?
Yeah.
We will get to that in just a moment.
Okay.
So the next portion we have is the lockbox tools. And like I said earlier, this is where listing agents are going to get the most functionality out of the app. So again, if I want to connect directly to it, I press enter on it. If the Bluetooth symbol is filled in, it means I can connect to it using my phone. And I connect directly to this lockbox. So this gives me access to any of my lockbox settings that I would like to use. So one of the most common things that an owner of the lockbox is going to do is release the shackle. So if I want to release the shackle, I simply press release shackle. We're really clever with how we name things.
For each function, you have to enter your
Correct.
ID.
You will need, for any ownership type function or any secure function, you will need to enter your PIN. So not your whole password, just your 4-digit PIN. So if I hit release here, you'll hear the motorcycle. Once I get the ready light, I can pull the shackle out of the top. So if you're familiar with how our card system works, you'll know that whenever you release the shackle using the card, it'll automatically clear the lockbox to its default settings. If you're using the app, however, it gives you the choice. You don't have to clear the settings. So if you need to remove the lockbox off the door to take a picture of the listing or to paint or something like that, it's not actually going to clear the settings. Gives you the option to. But in this case, I am actually going to remove it from my listing so I can show you how to add it to a listing. So you can see here I've successfully removed the property or the lockbox from my listing. And if I want to assign it to a property, I will simply press assign to property. And this will pull up all of my listings that I currently have on the SentriLock database. Now if I've just uploaded it to the MLS and it is not there yet, all I need to do is hit can't find property. And then I can just type in the house or the MLS number. So if you just uploaded it today and it hasn't merged with our SentriLock system, you can still apply it to the house. And then once those databases merge, all that information will get synced up. But in this case, I'm just going to attach it to my Main Street address. And then if I want, I can backdate when I actually assigned this to the listings. So say for some reason I assigned it on the 18th, but I'm only just now getting around to assigning it. I can actually backdate it to indicate how long that lockbox has been on that listing. So I'm going to assign it to the property. I'll get a successful notification, and it's as easy as that. I don't need to re-renew my Sentry card. I don't need to do that function 2, then the address or anything like that, like you would with the card. With the app, it's very simple. So what else can you do in this section? One of the things you have is view the access log. So what you can do here is just view any of the accesses for that lockbox. Now I've only opened this lockbox twice here, so you only see those lockbox accesses, but this will show you the name of the person who is in there, as well as what time, what date, as well as their contact information. So it's all very nice, very instant. The other one is one-day codes. How many of you guys have used one-day codes before? So very simple for one-day codes. All you do is press get one-day code. You say what date you want the one-day code generated for. You can do those up to 2 weeks in advance. So if you know you have an inspector coming out in 2 weeks, you can still generate a code for them. You'll assign it to someone. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to assign this to Bob and hit get one-day code. Like normal, I will need to enter my PIN for a secure function. And one of the nice things about generating it with the app is you can automatically send this to anybody in your contacts. So I just press this little send to button at the top right, and I can message it, text message it, or email it to anybody I already have in my contacts. It's very easy. You don't need to worry about writing anything down. Send it to them automatically. You don't even really need to think about it. Any questions on one-day codes? All right. So another thing you can do with this is you can also adjust lockbox settings. So if you want to customize your lockbox, you will just open this lockbox settings section. From here, you can adjust what any of your codes are. So if you want to change your contractor codes or your call before showing codes, if you guys ever use those, you can change what those are. You can enable or disable those modes through this. You have your standard showing times. I believe your default showing times are 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Say you've got an empty listing, you don't care if they show up at midnight to do a showing. you can actually adjust the access times as well. So, or if you have someone who doesn't want to be bothered on Saturdays, you can say, don't allow showings on Saturdays. You can customize the lockbox showings right here in your settings as well.
So if you wanted to have a 16 hours, thing, where would you put that?
So basically, if I wanted to adjust this, all I would do is hit edit at the top right.
Okay.
And then I can adjust the access times based on what day. Basically, it just says, when do you want to allow access on this box? So it's just for this individual box. It's not all of your lock boxes. It's on a box-by-box case.
Okay.
Yes.
With the one-day code and the new lock boxes, the person receiving the one-day code still uses the same procedure, enter the
Right.
code and
Enter the code, then enter. That is correct.
What was the section above with your contractor?
So contractor codes will allow you guys, basically if you want to enable contractor mode is we call it a semi-permanent cardless key door access. So if you have a contractor, trusted contractor that you work with, and they're coming to your listing, to remodel your kitchen, it's going to take more than one day. You can get them a contractor code, and it's the same code, and they can use that multiple times. And then if you want the contractor mode off, you just turn the mode off on the lockbox, and that contractor code is no longer good.
And how do you do that?
You just simply hit enabled on the contractor mode, and then you have your contractor codes available in your app.
Oh, I see.
Enable.
So you're automatically, they
That-
just pre-populate, if you enable it, you're automatically given three
Right.
different.
And that mode is
ones.
turned off by default, so it's something that you will actually have to turn on if it's something you want to use, which means that you will have to do a trip to the lockbox if it's something you want to actually turn on, but it is available to you. Yes.
Suppose you wanted to give it specific dates, can you do that, or do you have to go back in and disable it?
If you want specific dates, I would recommend doing multiple one-day codes. Like I said, I would say a trusted contractor, one that you work with regularly. It's not something you want to give out because, like I said, it doesn't expire. It just turns off once you turn it off. Does that make sense?
And you have to go to the box to turn it off.
Correct. So,
You can't do it online.
But
Correct.
you also have to you have to enable it also.
beginning.
So are they coming enabled when we get the?
no, this mode is turned off by default. So if basically the first time you set up your lockbox, that'd be the ideal time to turn it on if you plan on using it, because you don't have to give the code to anybody
Right.
if you don't use
What's
it.
the showing agent locked out, what is that?
Basically, that is if you're a showing agent, if you have it turned off, basically, if it's turned on, it means that the showing agent can get locked out if they put the wrong code in too many times. The lockout mode just means that you've entered too many incorrect functions on the lockbox and it's locking you out for a period of time. Is to prevent unauthorized accesses. Okay?
So how long will that lockout be in?
About 3 minutes.
About 3 minutes?
Yeah. That said, if you're using the app, you won't need to use it at all, because just as opening it, just press enter on the box. Again, very easy. All you need is your PIN.
And you said it had to have the Bluetooth. What happens if it comes up and there's no Bluetooth?
If there's no Bluetooth, that's a good question. So you can still access lockboxes even if there's no Bluetooth connection. So for this case, let's pretend that this is not a lockbox with Bluetooth. Let's see, 3. Basically, in this case, I would just enter the lockbox serial number, so the number that's just right on the top, and hit open key compartment. Oh, see, I'm still connected to the Bluetooth. I will show you that once my lockbox unpairs, so it'll be a little while, but I will show you that in a moment. Basically, what it'll do, if it's a non-Bluetooth lockbox and you're trying to access it, you will just enter your lockbox serial number in that position there. Then you will generate what is called a mobile access code. This works similarly to a one-day code. The only difference is you have to be within a half mile of the listing to be able to generate it. So if I can't generate a mobile access code for a lockbox across town, that's a situation where I'd want to use a one-day code. But if I'm standing right in front of it, I can do a mobile access code and it'll open the lockbox similarly to how a one-day code works. Make sense?
Why would you have a box that is non-Bluetooth?
If you have an older lockbox, so say somebody,
But aren't all the new ones gonna have?
all of the new ones will be the Bluetooth boxes. It's just in case you encounter a lockbox that was never exchanged or somebody bought secondhand somewhere. Yes?
Someone said that the
there wasn't a Bluetooth connection where they were, so even if that's the case, you can go to this mobile access code.
Bluetooth connection is actually, it broadcasts from your device, so they should always have a Bluetooth connection. They might not have mobile, like if they don't have cellular service, that might be what they're considering. If you don't have cell service, it is not an issue. So we'll get into that a little bit more later, but basically cell service is a non-issue with the app. Even if you don't have cell service, it will still work. I'll explain that more in just a few moments. So does anybody have any other questions about lockbox tools?
What else do you have there that we should know about?
You can view the access log. You can remove it from the property. Basically, I just did kind of a highlight reel. The only other thing you might consider is update firmware. The lockboxes update firmware automatically, but if you need to force it to update, you can do that just by hitting update firmware. We usually update the firmware 3-4 times a year. So.
I don't understand what you mean by update firmware.
The firmware, it's basically the brains of the lockbox. If we have an update to it to kind of iron out some issues or extend battery life, it'll do it automatically typically, but if you need to force it, it's usually not an issue. If you have to update firmware, usually you're going to be directed by support.
So suppose I don't unassign my lockbox when I take it off of there, you said it gives you the option.
Mm-hmm.
How's that gonna mess up the inventory?
If you don't unassign the lockbox, basically our system will still think that it is on the listing. So, I mean, best practice would be to remove it. You don't actually have to be in front of a lockbox to unassign it, though. So you can unassign it in our database without actually being at the lockbox, and then the next time somebody uses the lockbox, it'll update that lockbox to say, hey, you're unassigned now. So as long as it's unassigned on our website, you're good to go.
So if you have an admin that comes behind agents and checks, they would go into the
They can go on our website.
website and make sure that lockbox has been unassigned before they put it back into inventory.
Correct. Or it's as simple as calling us at support. We'd be more than happy to unassign it for you as well. Okay?
What's the assigned to no owner?
I would recommend not doing that because that actually is talking about lockbox ownership. So it means, you know, whoever owns the lockbox means assigning it to no owner, which means that nobody owns it. So the next person who connects to it will take ownership of that box. So that's, in fact, I don't think you can do that unless you are the true owner of the lockbox. So you guys are a broker ownership model, correct? So that means only brokers would be able to assign to no owner, and that's basically dropping ownership off the box.
So is that feature disabled then on pretty much? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one we have is the message center. Within the message center, you can see showing notifications. You can see one-day codes you have generated, showing feedback surveys, any agent fee bills that you might have, low battery notifications. So our system will notify you approximately 60 days in advance before your battery is going to die. We say approximately because it depends on use, but you will be forewarned if your battery is going to die. And then other important messages. I don't have anything populated in this message center. I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment.
Can you go back to the battery for a second?
Yeah.
In a perfect world,
Yeah,
we're talking about 8 years, am I right?
correct.
Okay.
6 to 8 years is the battery life on these lock boxes. 90% of users will see battery life longer than that.
And if it does go, if the battery does, how do you replace the battery?
We will get to that in just a moment. Okay?
Well, on the same topic, what is the battery? You going to cover that?
Yeah, the batteries are provided by SentriLock to the association. So if you need to change a battery, you would just come here, pick up your new batteries, and you can change them. They're user changed yourself, so you can just...
It's not a battery that you can buy online or at the drugstore? Or...
No, we use industrial grade batteries, not commercial or consumer grade. So they are stronger than what you would buy at like a Walmart. So you would only want to get your batteries here.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, at the association, sorry, not here. You'd only want to get your batteries from the association because they're provided by SentriLock to the association. They're not, we give them to the association, so we're not like saying, you know, get them from us so we can make money. Like, we give them to the association, so you will want to get them there.
What's your experience been when you've been releasing these? How many? Because I would imagine that the only occasion, at least once we get these new lock boxes, it's going to be due to a, I don't know, just a bad battery, if you will. How Would you say percentage-wise, what's your success rate? then?
This year, our failure rate of lockboxes is 0.06.
Good.
So that's, 0.06. It's very low. In fact, it's trending down towards kind of that 0.04. We're doing everything we can to iron out those few issues. But yes. So the other thing we have is the settings. Like I said, within the settings, this is where if you want to change your PIN or change your password in the app, you can do that here. And then you can see any specific details. So if you want to see what your SentriLock ID is, or you want to see what your card serial number is, you can do that in app as well. So before I shut down the demo, does anybody want to see anything else again?
What was the survey, agent survey?
So if you're a listing agent, you can set up specific surveys for the listing, like, did you like the chandelier? What did you think of the fireplace? You can put those, and then if somebody accesses the listing, they'll have the opportunity to give you feedback on that showing. Okay? So let me shut this down.
Is that new? Does that exist now?
Yep.
It does, that survey does.
Are we able to give a code to other agents to pull off the lockbox if they're going to a closing or trying to walk through?
Yes, you can give a shackle code. That shackle code will allow them to release the shackle. Yeah, it's a non-owner shackle code that will be available to them. So, let's go over some details with the one-day codes. This provides access to a non-SentriLock user, so contractors, painters, out-of-area associates, things like that. The listing associate or lockbox owner must generate the code, so you actually have to have ownership privileges to the box to be able to generate a code. I cannot generate a code for your lockbox, but you can generate one for your lockbox, that kind of thing. Or you can always call us support. We can generate a one-day code for you. Lockbox must be assigned to a listing in order for you to generate a one-day code. So if the lockbox is unassigned, you cannot generate a one-day code for that lockbox. This notification will go out after they have left from a half-mile radius of the lockbox, or if they've accessed another lockbox, or 90 minutes after the first access. So you'll get a notification saying, hey, they have left that area, that area is again open for showings or whatever. So notifications will provide listing address if the lockbox is assigned, the lockbox serial number, the date and time of the showing, as well as the showing associate's contact information.
Do you have to be in the app to get the notification, or is it just like email or text and it comes?
You can get any notifications you can get through text, email, or the app.
Whether you're in the app or not?
Right. And you can customize how often you'd like those. If you only want them every day at noon, you can do that. It's a pretty flexible system.
So what about if they're on a home inspection and you kind of want to know when they're done? So 90 minutes, that probably could still be there.
Currently, these aren't tied to one-day codes because the one-day code has no way of signaling it to us. This is only available if they're using the app because those notifications go instantly. So currently, if they're using a one-day code, unfortunately, we don't have a way to do the end of showing notification.
Lockbox, not using one-day code to go in for a home inspection.
Do they have a SentriLock account?
Yeah, it would be the other agent.
Yeah, if the other agent if they're using the app, then yes, you would get those notifications.
But if they're there longer than 90 minutes, then what happens? Because they're probably going to be there longer than 90 minutes if they're on a home inspection. I'm just trying to figure out if you would know when they leave, if it's like a home inspection, which
it will also record if they're within a half mile or if they've accessed another lockbox. So I don't believe it would notify you until they leave, but I will double check and find out that information.
I've gotten one of those 90 minutes and I wasn't sure if they left or
Okay.
not.
I will double check on that and get back to you. Yes?
I had one, this has been a little while ago, but it had a beginning and it never ended.
Yeah, right.
The end of showing notifications were only just released. So if it's been a while ago, then the initial...
I called the agent and I said,
Yeah.
it shows that you never left. Are you still there?
Yeah.
And he said, no, I left. I said,
Yeah.
did you use your key card? He said, yeah, I used my key card.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay.
So the way the system previously worked is it just showed you when they accessed it.
Right.
But now we're also showing when they leave. So if it
So we
was...
should always have a beginning and ending now.
Ideally. If they're using the app, then
But
yes.
it has to use the app
Yes.
on their phone.
Right.
If they're using their card, You may not know.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so this brings about another feature that I want to talk about with the app that we're really excited to bring you guys for agent safety. So this mode is turned off by default in the app. So if it is something you want, you will have to go into settings and turn it on. But this is a way for you to alert somebody if you're in an unsafe or uncomfortable situation. So if I enable this mode, it'll ask me to designate an emergency contact. So I can put an emergency contact in the app. And after I do that, every time I open a lockbox, I'm going to get this notification that comes up that says confirm safety. This is an automated check to confirm that you're safe. Now, if I'm immediately uncomfortable or kind of in a sketchy situation, I can hit send alert. And that alert is going to go through text and email to whoever I've designated as my emergency contact saying, hey, this is who, or hey, somebody is not in a ideal situation and this is the location that they're at. It takes the lockbox listing information and tells you where they are. So you're at least getting the word out to somebody kind of in a subtle way that you're in an unsafe or uncomfortable situation. Now, if you're okay at first, you can just hit I'm okay. If you hit I'm okay, a certain amount of time is going to go off. It's about 90 seconds. And then that prompt is going to come up again. And you can just hit I'm okay, I'm okay. And throughout the showing, you can just keep hitting I'm okay. Basically, if you don't hit I'm okay and it goes through 2 cycles of that 90 seconds, that notification is going to go out automatically. So even if you can't reach your phone, the notification is still going to go out. Last one we have is I'm okay, don't ask again. That's like if you're showing your mother-in-law and you're pretty sure she's not going to tackle you. You just hit I'm okay, don't ask again, and those notifications will stop coming up. So this is by no means a replacement for 911, but it does get the word out if you are in an uncomfortable situation.
It's in the settings.
It's in the settings on your app?
Yeah, it'll be in the app settings.
And it's only a turn on, turn off?
Once you turn it on, it'll be on until you turn it off. So it's like...
So you can turn it off like if you're uncomfortable in
Right.
the situation. You
Yeah.
don't have to like turn it on when we set it up to be able to use it.
Well, you turn it on. I would recommend turning it on and then just leaving it on until, like, if you showing a family member for the day and you don't want it bothering you, you can turn it off for that day. But, it's up to you as far as how you want to use it. But
Yeah, I have a card that's somewhat damaged. I don't need it anymore, then I just use the app, right? I don't have to replace it.
correct. I would recommend replacing it as a backup, but I know people who have been using the app since we released it. They haven't renewed their card since 2012. So,
Sir?
Yeah.
God forbid that we are in a bad situation
Mhm.
and I can't get to my phone now because the person has taken it away from me and it's sending, are you okay? And I'm not responding. What happens?
So if you don't respond, like I said, after 2 cycles of that 90 seconds, if you don't respond for 2 notifications, so over the course of about 3 minutes, then the notification automatically goes out. So even if you don't respond, the only way, it'll still go out basically, unless, for some reason the I'm okay, don't ask again was pressed. Yeah.
Question, you have a box and it's assigned to a listing with an agent.
Mm-hmm.
Listing sells, they remove the box, put it back in inventory, and it's reassigned to another agent.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to go in every time that box is reassigned and set up these settings? Or
No.
is it just default?
These settings are based on the app, not the lockbox. So these are user side, not lockbox
Okay,
side.
so it's, okay.
And
Yeah.
also, when you take it off it asks you if you're removing it or
Correct.
changing.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about the SentriCard and the app. So, like I said, I highly encourage you guys to start using the application. It'll make your lives a lot easier. I know sometimes, picking up a new technology can be a little intimidating, but as soon as you get used to it, it's a complete replacement for the card, the website, and the SentriCard renewal. It makes it very easy. So if you do want to still use a SentriCard, basically they're the same functions as they have been. There's one key difference though. The renewal period has gone from an 8-day renewal period to a 1-day renewal period. So if you want to continue using your card, you will have to renew it every day before you do a showing.
It was never an 8-day.
Seriously, are you joking?
Oh, it was a 5-day? Sorry. So it is now a 1-day renewal period. And when I say 1 day, it's calendar day, so it expires at midnight.
So,
So the reasons we do that, we have two primary reasons. One of them is for speed of reporting. So when the app is being used, those notifications are sent and received immediately. When the card is being used, those notifications only get sent when the card is renewed. So that means if somebody were to access a listing and then not renew their card for 5 days, we might not get that notification that somebody was at that listing for 5 days. Similarly, it's also a security issue because say an agent was, they're no longer an agent, but they renewed their card. Their card is still active for 5 days. You don't know what they're going to do. So that's the two reasons that we have that. However, the good news with this is the app. Like I said, the app does make your life a lot easier. The reason being, the app you don't have to renew ever. It automatically does it. The app just works. So with that in mind, like I said, with the renewal period, your renewal period will go down to 1 day starting August 7th to kind of give you that time to get used to using the app. But if you do want to continue using the app, we have instructions available for you on how to do that. Yes, sir.
Using the service in Delaware and Maryland, and Maryland's not changing right now. Coastal is not changing. Is that card going to go down to 1 day in Maryland as well?
Is it a separate Sentry card?
It's the same card, but it's two.
You have you don't have two different cards. You just have one card.
I have one card that's and I use it in Delaware and Maryland.
I will have to check to see what their renewal period is, but I believe it would probably be the same. Any association going forward is going down to the 1 day. It's not like, I don't want you guys to think that we're just doing that for you guys. It's any association who upgrades automatically goes down to the 1 day renewal period. Let me confirm that and I'll get back with you.
I had a question.
Yeah.
That card reader is a little different. Do the other one still work?
The other one
okay?
still works just fine. In fact, I still use the old one back at home. So
Okay.
that's just a different version.
Okay.
I got a question too.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm on the border of Kent and Sussex, and they use Super and we use SentriLock.
Okay.
Are they going to SentriLock?
Not that I know of.
I have to use a combo lock for them.
Yeah, they have that association has a different contract. Your guys' contract is with us, theirs is with Supra. So, hopefully at one point they'll be all on the SentriLock system, but for right now they still have contractual obligations. So let's talk about the key differences between the app and the card. With you're using the card, you still you have to have a renewed Sentry card to open the lockbox. If you're using the app, you just have your phone. For notifications, if you're using the phone, you get and receive those notifications instantly. There's zero downtime for it. If you're using the card, you're only going to get those notifications after somebody has renewed their Sentry card. So if they go on vacation without renewing your Sentry card, you might be out of luck on that notification for 2 weeks. Assigning a lockbox to a listing, if you're using the app, you can do it all instantly through the app. If you're using your card, you need to update it through the website, renew your card, upload it into the lockbox, and renew your card again. Customization reports and 1 day codes. You're seeing a trend with the app. You can do it in-app on your phone. If you're using a Sentry card, you can do it on the website. And like I said, this is the biggest reason why the app is the most convenient. I'm not just saying things up here. The app renews itself automatically. You never have to worry about renewing it. As long as you have touched some sort of data network, so that means Wi-Fi or your mobile data, as long as you've had cell service at some point during the day, your app will work. So if you start off at your home, you have cell service at your home, you can drive out to Timbuktu where there's no cell service, the app will still work without a active connection. Does that make sense?
And your phone has to have battery. Right?
Yes, ideally.
That happens too.
I would recommend a car charger. So with this, we also have what we call secure key access. This basically means that you can use either the Sentry card or the app, but not both at the same time. The way we make this differentiation is if you renew your Sentry card is the active key until it expires. This is to keep someone from saying, hey, I've got my phone, you take my card, that house has a cool hot tub, I'm gonna go over here. It's to keep multiple users from using the same account. So again, the way that differentiation is made is once you renew your Sentry card, that becomes your active key. It disables the mobile access portion of the app until the card is expired. Make sense?
When an agent is discharged or leaves, and their card's not renewed, their app, what happens with the app? How does...
The app is automatically disabled. So the card, basically the reason the card would still work if they don't renew it is because the card has, they had that longer renewal period, they could continue using it until it expires. The app, as soon as it touches a data network, it's going to disengage. So if somebody is not an active agent anymore, the app will not be available to
the
them.
broker has to notify you that that person's not an agent.
Actually, if the broker just terminates on the website, it'll automatically disable the app for them.
Same question to find out what that for Maryland versus Delaware.
Okay, I will get on that. So the single key here, that is so you guys have time to get used to using the app. You can still use both the card and the app until August 14th. So we will have a kind of transitional period where, if you're using the app and you're not sure about it, you just want to use your card, that's fine. But like I said, starting August 14th, it's going to be one or the other on any given day.
How do you terminate an agent on the website?
If you're a broker, you should be able to through their Sentry card options.
So you had made the suggestion earlier to keep your card as a backup. So in the event, okay, I'm going out to show property, I want to update my card just in the off chance my phone dies.
That's a good point. So like I said, I recommend you keep your card as a backup because if your card expires, or I'm sorry, if you have your card and your phone, say you drop it in a puddle and it shorts out, if you can call us at support with your client's phone or a different phone, just call us at support. We can get you what we call a CARS renewal code. Basically, it's a single time renewal code where you can renew your card at a lockbox and it's good for the rest of that day. So basically, you have unlimited of those per month, but you only have one consecutively, which means that we only allow you to do that one time after you renew it at a lockbox. You have to renew it, a full renewal at a card reader. So best practice would be if I receive a CARS renewal code, that night I renew my Sentry card fully at a computer. So the next time if I need that emergency renewal code, I have that in my pocket. Make sense?
Andy, I have a question.
Yeah.
We have teams, and they enter the listing through as the actual listing agent is the team, and then the agent co-lists. Is there going to be a way or that the co-list can bring up the listings through the app for the listings, or is it going to, they're going to have to log into the teams or whoever the listing agent is?
For agent teams, there's a little piece I'll do on that, just for brokers and things like that. So I'll show you that at the very end. Okay. So now we're going to talk best practices for these lockboxes. So we call these lockboxes water resistant. That does not mean they are waterproof. So please do not attach them to a water source, no downspouts, water spigots, anything like that. I've seen these in crazy places. I've seen them on tree branches. I've seen them on mailboxes. It doesn't really matter where you put it, just as long as it's not a wet area. And we recommend that you hang it as close to vertical as possible. That means that this is ideal. This is even okay. We just don't want it laying on its back because then you got moisture sitting on the circuit board. Electronics and water don't typically mix well. Next one we have is that you rotate your lockboxes to maximize your battery life. What we mean by that is just when you take a lockbox off the listing, put it to the back of your inventory. Next time you go out, pull it from the front of your inventory. It's going to maximize your battery life. That said, we have the, where did I put my phone? The battery life on our lockboxes we say is 6 to 8 years based on storage, use, and climate. You guys shouldn't have to worry about the climate because that's typically for like the really cold ones up in Canada. But storage and use you can help out by rotating your lockboxes. The last one we have is anything inserted into the lockbox should fit safely into the gray key bin. So if you guys are used to the Gen 1s and Gen 2s, the lockbox is a little bit different now. Basically, any key that you have should fit in this box, and we also ask that you don't remove this little gray key bin because that'll expose a wire. We don't want a key to accidentally score that or anything like that. So leave the gray key bin in there. Anything that you want to put in there, it's fine. As long as it fits in the gray key bin, you're good to go. You can typically fit about 8 keys in there. Okay? So we also have agent teams, and you had asked about agent teams. Basically, an agent team is a way to share privileges. So if I want someone to be on my agent team, I want them to be able to access my lockboxes. I can go onto the website and add them to my agent team. Now, you can only add people to your agent team. You cannot add yourself to someone else's agent team. Kind of like how I can invite you to my house, but I'm not going to invite myself over to your house. We also have integration with RPR and HomeSnap. Like I said, if you use those, it's great. When you open a lockbox, you can go directly to that listing in the RPR app. Do you have a question?
Well, I wasn't familiar with that, but okay.
Beyond that, we're going to give you guys a Start Here guide on your way out. I'll discuss just about everything that we covered today, as well as give you resources on how to download and install the app, everything like that. Any of the lockboxes are going to be distributed to the brokers, so you guys don't need to worry about that. Start Here guide, like I said, this is what you'll be receiving today. Beyond that, where to go if you need to get help. You can use your Start Here guide. You can go to SentriLock.com/help. It'll break everything down by topic. So if I want to know how to assign a lockbox to a listing on an Android device, I can go directly to that. It'll show me how to do that specific step. We also have a great YouTube channel, has videos of everything that we did today. So if you have further questions or want to see anything again, just go to youtube.com/SentriLock1. Then, of course, we also have our support center. We'd be more than happy to help you out. All you have to do is in-app, just press the little phone icon. It'll link to our phone. It's 1877 SentriLock. We're open 8 a.m. to midnight every single day. Based in Cincinnati, Ohio. That is our call center right there. And we'd be more than happy to help you out. Anybody have questions?
Are the boxes we're getting all going to be new?
Yes, brand new lock boxes, just manufactured within the last month in Kentucky. Yes.
I have SentriSmart loaded on my cell phone. It's version 3.1, and mine goes to the
If you already have the app, you are good to go. It is no different than what we just showed. Okay?
And just for clarification again, with the app we're downloading and the boxes we're getting, that only allows us to access the boxes coming out of Sussex County.
Any box that you have reciprocity to, you will be open. Any SentriLock lockbox that you have reciprocity to, you will be able to open. Okay? So that does it for, if you are a broker or office staff, I do have something else to show you, but anybody else, you guys are free to go. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.